Welcome to Small Town Tales, a podcast where we hear stories of the paranormal, haunting legends, and all things spirit. Join us as we explore the unknown. Now, here's your host, C.L. Thomas.
We have a special guest here today from Cincinnati, Ohio. Aurora Sky is a therapist using quantum healing hypnosis to guide her clients into past life regressions. In this edition of Small Town Tales podcast, she is going to discuss some of the different entities and spiritual beings that have come through during these sessions and the healing benefits that can be achieved through them. We'll start with, can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
My name is Aurora Sky. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I do quantum healing hypnosis technique, as well as beyond quantum hypnosis, Reiki energy healing, and classes. So a modge podge of many things.
What exactly is quantum healing?
Well, the quantum in the quantum realm, anything can happen. Like as far as like my clients go to past lives, sometimes they go to future lives. And when we heal something from the past, it heals the now and the future and past generations. It's pretty amazing. So a typical session, you would come in and talk with me for an hour or two to get to know each other and gain some trust. And then we go over your questions that you want to ask your higher self and guides. And then from there, I take you into the crystal light bed. It's a quantum resonance bed that has crystals above you. And it's really to get you relaxed and balanced before the session. And then it takes about 20 minutes to get you into that theta wave hypnotic state, which you're already in. If you're like driving the same way to work every day and you kind of zone out, you're in a hypnotic state. It's not like you're fully asleep. And then from there, I take you to past lives that your higher self wants to show you because it's affecting you now. Sometimes the clients will even go to their home planet. They're not even from this planet. Sometimes dead relatives will come through. It's really like every session is amazing. I never know what to expect. It's expanded my consciousness so much, and I can't get enough.
So what are some of the things that are gained from the clients coming in to get this healing?
Clarity, number one, clarity on their questions. I mean, your higher self does come in with, answers to the questions, but you might not be listening. And messages might come through other people to help you, assist you. But the session really tunes you into your higher self and your guides to get those questions answered. And healing, for sure, healing. For example, I also have you go over your body, like literally hover above your body to check your chakras and any energy that's out of balance. And you might find an entity attachment that's on you. And it's been causing you neck pain for years. I had a client that was a yoga instructor. She's had a pain in her neck for many years, didn't know what it stemmed from. Come to find out, it was an entity attachment that attached when she was in college, drunken night out on the town. You're leaving your aura open. It attached to her. That was an issue that was causing. So as soon as the angels and guides came in to remove it, she woke up and was like, wow, that feels amazing. Like that's been there for so long and I feel so much lighter. It's like literally like baggage is left.
So yeah. If you can pick up an entity like that just from going into a bar, what about traumatic experiences and stuff like that?
Yes. Right. If you're like in a fear mode, you've just literally like your aura's like turned black and allowed things to come in. Yeah, it happens so often. Yeah, it's good to put your protection up when you go out into like a bar, for example, because there are a lot of lost souls there that are looking for a host to attach to. And if you've lowered your vibration enough, it just makes it easier to attach. So it's good to like put a protection bubble around you. I've learned that. I like to put a white and golden protection around me. And I even had an aura photography picture done recently at a fair, and they could see that I had done that before I came and showed me the bubble. I was like, that is so cool to see physical proof what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. That's so neat. So yeah. I was in New Orleans one time. I'm a photographer and I travel quite a bit. And one night I had this really weird experience where it was a guy who practiced voodoo. And he told me, you're going to find what you're looking for, because I was looking for spiritual beings and, proof of afterlife stuff. I ended up down on Bourbon Street and I was just looking at a different crowd and I'd set up my camera and was just, recording. And this guy comes up to the camera and he was visibly drunk. He got on the ground and was barking like a dog. He was licking the street, just
wow,
most bizarre behavior. And I immediately thought, maybe that guy died. Do you think that with these entity attachments that sometimes they can be demonic or anything like that?
Oh yes, definitely. I actually had a session where we had were checking the chakras, and she had picked up a demonic entity from Vegas. There is this place you go and visit, and it has like stuff from like psycho killers and stuff like that. I'm like, why would she even want to go in there? I don't know, but she had picked one up, and that can happen. And then you got it. I personally don't know how to release that, but there are people that can do that. But yeah, it's totally a thing.
I too went to the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, and I carried something back, and it's amazing. I look on his website, and it's just message after message of people who visited that place that something happened to them. I'm like you. I don't understand why people go in there. I've been there twice, but
right. So there actually are portals. There are dark portals, and there are light portals. So there are beings from the lower dimensions coming up through these. So definitely stay away from those places unless you want to come home like with a different personality or energy that's not your own.
That's so crazy. So in these past life regressions, what have you learned about the universe and the spirit through this practice? Have things come out that have just changed your entire belief system about the soul's journey?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like I was kind of lost before these sessions. Like, why am I here? What's the purpose of all this? And from all the books I've read, I got a little bit here and there, but nothing like the quantum hypnosis sessions to why we're here. We're here to expand consciousness and grow and take that learning and knowledge back to source. And the whole light and dark, it just makes sense that we have to have one to understand the other. If it was light all the time, we would really not grow and expand. So stop cursing the darkness, understand it, and just rise above it. And I've learned about this shift that the planet's going through. We're going into a higher dimension, which is above the dark and the light. It's just being the awareness of it in the chaos. Just imagine it like you're in a video game or something, and you're just observing it. Wow, yeah, that's going on there, and that's going on there. But I'm just going to stay neutral.
Wow. So what does that mean for our humanity if we're moving into that specific period?
The fifth dimension is more, it's just more balanced. Right now it's been off balance for a while. It's been very dark, and literally the Earth sent out a signal to other star systems like, hey, we need assistance here to raise our vibration. Can we take on any volunteers? And people literally signed up to come down here and help us. There are beings from all the star systems here right now to help this planet shift into a higher dimension. And the reason why they volunteer is because it's going to help we are so connected more than we know. When we raise up, then they do too. So it's a win-win situation. So that's why they're helping us. And there's a galactic light council that overlooks this galaxy. And they've come up in sessions where my client's part of that. And they'll go up there on the round table and tell me what they're talking about. And it's pretty magnificent.
That is really amazing. In one of the videos you posted, I went and watched all your stuff, by the way.
Awesome.
YouTube and all that stuff. I just think that your theories and everything are just so amazing. I just love them. And one of the videos you posted, you talk about that time doesn't exist and that we can access different dimensions. Can you discuss that just a little bit?
Yeah, apparently Earth, we actually made this concept of time to help us, I don't know, just gather our bearings as far as like, past, present, and future. But it is literally all being accessed simultaneously. It's how psychics are tapping into your future. Well, they're seeing a timeline, the most prevalent timeline in the future. And if you get really good at like accessing the Akashic records, you can tap into your past lives and all, the learning that you've discovered from your past lives to be utilized right now. And we just need to focus on the now. Right. Because you just really need to focus on the now and be present. And otherwise you're going to be anxious thinking about the future or sad about the past or whatever. We just really need to focus on right now.
So is that the idea that psychic mediums or psychics and mediums can go into a place and feel spirits from the past, or I don't know, maybe they're from the future now that I'm thinking about it. But is that why? It's because they're tapping into that other...
Yeah, and they're actually tapping into higher dimensions or even lower dimensions. I mean, all psychics might not be from the light as well. But I think we all have that ability. It's tuning in and tapping into it. And some people have that closed off due to traumas as well. So yeah, we just need to get better at meditating and tapping into our higher self so that we can get all the answers we seek. We don't even need to go to a psychic.
I just kind of want to highlight that, what you just said. Anybody can do this. I hear so many mediums out there that say they're the only ones, they got a special power or this. Or that. That's just not true.
Right. So and that's ego right there. Yeah. We all have gifts.
Right. So when tapping into the spiritual plane, we ourselves enter into different dimensions. We're able to contact spirit guides, angels, and higher beings, that sort of thing. And we're able to communicate and share resources back and forth between these other entities. What can we gain in our current life from this? Can you kind of discuss your own experiences?
Just from, when you're lost on which way to go or whatever, like spirit, just, show me the way. And then, allow and let go and see what, shows up. And sometimes you want to manifest things, and you just got to be really patient with it, because sometimes the universe has to put this person in place and this job in place before this happens. And that's, in the past, I've been very impatient. I'm like, but I want it now. And I'm like, okay, I got to understand that this is, all these things got to happen first. So just having patience. I've tapped into my higher self for sure a few times, where like, it's just, there was so much clarity there. It's like you've seen the bigger picture. It's like you rose above your body and you've seen the bigger picture of how everything's playing out and the understanding of it. And it's just amazing. It's like when we're in our body and we're just in our egoic self, we're seeing one way, one path, and in any situation. And you can rise above that and see all the different angles.
So basically you're observing and then you absorb what you see.
The information. Yeah. And the trick is to like write it down. Sometimes like I will have profound things. I'm like, I really need to write that down, and I forget to write it down. I'm like, what was that again?
Do you ever, like, what kind of signs do you see sometimes with this? Do you ever get like universal signs such as like numbers or? Yeah,
or like a bumper sticker or something. Like I might have been feeling down about something, and then like the universe sends me a bumper sticker that says something that's profound. Like, oh, okay, yeah, thank you for bringing me back to who I am. I just forgot for a few minutes. Thank you. Or someone will bring up a conversation I was literally just thinking about in my head. It's amazing how we're so connected. And as this veil thins, as this transition happens, it's going to happen more and more. We're going to be more telepathic. We're going to see the signs so much easier. And it really has to do with your vibration too. So if you're like really, really down in the dumps, let's say, you're not going to see the signs that spirit just sent you because you're not seeing it. It's like you're on a different level, if that makes sense.
Right. And on the flip side of that, if you're putting out that energy, that's what you're going to get. That's what you attract to yourself.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The law of attraction. Yeah. Is real.
Can you share specific client experiences and outcomes from your practice?
Okay. There is one on my YouTube that is with Mike, QHHT with Mike. He was ready to leave this planet, like literally a week before seeing me. And it's changed his whole world. Once he's tapped in and he sees why he had to go through the things he had to go through and his mission. He's not from this planet and he hasn't had very many lifetimes here. So he's having a hard time, which I get it. This is literally the Harvard of the universe. You can also call it the ghetto of the universe because we have all the emotions and stuff here. And now he, is on its path and understands his mission. And that was like a 180, which is amazing. Yeah, it's definitely a good one to listen to.
So have you been able to help someone through like the lowest point in their life through your quantum healing?
I would say that one was pretty, a low point. But there are many people that they just feel like they're stuck right now and they're just like, I don't know which way to go. And then once they're, tapped in, they're like, oh yeah, just do what, brings you joy. It's really that simple. And that's going to help others and help yourself. It's a win-win.
So does this work with people that have like addictions and things like that?
Yes. Getting to the bottom of it. Sometimes it's ancestral. It's, been passed down and needs cleared away. So your higher self will tell you, start putting this in the place of that. You might be lacking a vitamin. Your higher self knows even which vitamins you're low on. It's pretty cool. And put this vitamin in and that's going to be less, you're going to be less anxious and not want to do this, drug or whatever. Like It'll give you all the steps.
So what about when you take people into these past life regressions, do you ever have an instance where they've gone through some kind of trauma in their past? Like, I'm kind of thinking from the paranormal side, where you go into these mental institutions and prisons, and some churches are actually the most haunted places in the world. Places that seem to harbor that negative energy kind of stuff. Do you ever come in, or do you ever observe any of that in your clients, that they've gone through something in the past and they're kind of reliving in their present life?
Oh yeah. Like a cycle that they've got to break. Like not particularly with the the dark spaces or anything that hasn't happened in a past life, but as far as just like breaking the cycle of finding a certain person that, let's say, that's going to beat you and hurt you, and you haven't learned that you need to stand up for yourself and you have power, stop acting powerless and being the victim. And then once they find that out, so at the end of the past life regression, I ask your higher self to come in, and the first thing I ask is, why did you show them these each lifetimes? And they will say, hey, this is what she needs to learn from this. She needs to break this cycle in this life. It's like that aha moment. As soon as you have that aha moment, it's like a shift takes place.
So then what happens? That person's able to overcome that and then move to the next level?
Yep. It's basically, we're all like on our different journey, and we are all at different levels, and there's really no race to get to the top. It might take someone 20 lifetimes to get through greed, or whatever it is, and some it might just take 2. It's just how fast I guess you want to evolve and get back to source.
So other entities that you come in contact with, you've also come in contact with angels. How does that role play in?
Yeah, we have so many angels that are available, more than I even know about. Like, a new one will come in a session. I'm like, I've never heard of that one. What are they good for? And most of them haven't even been in human form. Like, their job is just from source to help us with certain needs. And we don't even take the time to call on them. They're right there. But they will come in a session and even talk through my client. They'll become a channel for, archangels, and, just say things for me too. And I'll be like, whoa, okay, that's cool.
So we're going to take a break for just a minute. When we come back, we're going to discuss extraterrestrials and some other entities that Aurora comes in contact with through her clients.
You're listening to Small Town Tales, with stories of the paranormal, haunting legends, and all things spirit, with your host, C.L. Thomas, and this podcast's guest, therapist, Aurora Sky.
And we're back. Aurora, can you talk a little bit about the extraterrestrials that come through in some of your sessions?
Okay, some of the major ones that come through are Octurians and Pleiadians. Those two they often come through. Or my client is from Arcturus and Pleiadian, so their beings and family come through to remind them of their mission. They're very light beings, just like there are dark and light beings of humans, there are with the galactic beings. So yeah, some grays aren't the nicest. There's reptilians.
Oh wow, are these all planets? Yes,
different star systems. And I'll even ask sometimes, how far away? And they're like, this many light years away. I'm like, okay, I can't fathom that. I can't wrap my mind around that, how far it is away.
Well, what are these different beings? I forget what you just said.
Octurians. Yeah, they kind of look like your typical, big eyes, big head. They have 3 fingers apparently. And they can range in colors, but they're telepathic. It's like only humans actually talk with our mouths. All the other beings are telepathic, and it's just tuning in, like I guess a frequency, and you're able to just portray. And some of my clients have been basically beamed up into a UFO, and they will go to that time when that happened. And it wasn't for anything bad. It was their family checking on them to see, how well they're doing. But you can choose to forget that as well if it's too hard in your waking life, Right. So you can choose to forget that, and they'll help you forget, that you were even up there, which is pretty cool. Apparently, I've learned that I am been all over the star systems. that I originated on Lyran. They're a lion humanoid type being, and you can Google this stuff. Now people are really waking up and remembering who they are. They can look it up. It's pretty amazing. And then I've been Pleiadian as well. I had a starseed report done on Etsy. Out of all places, you can go there and get a starseed report, and she tunes in and taps in to tell you. And yeah, I've been all over the galaxy, just helping it out.
Do you know the purpose of these different beings? Like reptile? I guess I just don't even know what these different beings are. Like, what is a reptilian?
You can research it. There are reptilians that came here a long time ago, and we all actually have some reptilian in us. Apparently, it's in our DNA of Earth. But they are these darker beings that love power and love controlling the humans. And they've been controlling the humans here on this planet for a while now, but their time's up. They're realizing that the ascension that the planet's going through, it's not going to be able to harbor that energy anymore.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, the humans need to learn right now. Humanity needs to learn that they've been under control and under these forces for a while, and we need to stand up and take our power back and stop playing the victim.
I'm just thinking about the biblical stuff, Genesis in particular with the giants. Does that have anything to do with, or?
There's been ETs on this planet so many times, and it's in caves, and all around the world. The bird-like beings, that's blue avian. I actually have a friend that knows she's blue avian because they come and visit her in her room at night to speak to her. So I'm meeting more and more people that are really tuned and tapped in and are seeing these beings come in their house. They've also seen the dark beings come in too, and they have to do a prayer like, hey, you're not meant to be here. I'm not going to listen to what you have to say. Yeah. Protection mode.
That's so interesting. So I live in Las Vegas, and one of my favorite things to do is to travel outside and look at ghost towns and canyons and things of that nature. And I come across a lot of Native American petroglyphs all the time. And one of the things that I noticed in those is that, they always have that, the bird symbol, which I guess is the chief of the Native American tribe. But they also almost all of them have a large figure in them with it looks like a helmet or something over their head. I mean, where would they come up with that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I've heard about the halo, which is, they're really, it's showing you that you are spirit. They are spirit, and they're really more, tuned into spirit. They might be at a higher vibration than us, and it's depicting that, some people can actually see people's energy around their head. But we are particles of God. We are part of Creator. It is not above us. So, yeah.
Somebody recently just replied to a message that I had tweeted, and he said, I think the conversation was about Jesus or something like that. But he said that we are all part of God, and that everything that we do goes back to that one source. It was just a lovely thing.
You got it. So I actually found out through doing my clients' past life regressions. I asked, have I known this client before? And 7 times out of 10, I've known that client before, but that I was in the life with Jesus Christ and I was his cousin. And so I did follow him. Yeah. And I followed him, and then it comes up in other sessions. I'm like, it must be true then, which is crazy. But since I was a child, I could tell that a lot of the Bible did not resonate with me. It's been altered for sure, right, and stuff left out.
Yeah.
I highly recommend Jesus and the Essenes by Dolores Cannon, who did this quantum hypnosis for over 40 years. And a client went to a past life with Jesus, and I could just feel it, the truth in my heart. This is real. He would go into the town with the people with lepers, and this young girl would go along with them, but looking like a boy, because it was unheard of to have a girl, follow Jesus around like that. And she says, why are we not getting this leper's disease? He said, because we're not in fear. Literally, fear draws diseases and things to you, and viruses.
Oh, wow.
And I believe that to be true. I haven't gotten sick in a long time, and I just take my vitamins, and it's helped me so far.
I'm going to try that. Just stop fearing.
Yes.
Not sick anymore. Yeah,
right.
It was kind of a lovely conversation. We were in a disagreement, and he believes that, and I totally believe him. It's not like I don't believe him. He says that Jesus, he's a medium, and he says that Jesus had visited him in a couple of, no, he said that he had some family issues going on at the time, and this was when he was a child, and Jesus had visited him on a couple occasions. And so that's what our conversation was about. I said, well, I don't know if I really believe in Jesus. And anyway, it was just a lovely.
Yeah, he definitely can visit you in your dreams or, in real life, and you can see him. But there have been other higher dimensional beings that have come throughout time, just as high vibration as him. And so I don't understand the whole, worshiping him like he's a god when he was trying to tell you that you are God. Stop worshiping me. So this whole idea of religion and, I just don't understand that. I feel like I'm spiritual and there's truths to all religions. And yeah, we are part of Source, and there are beings on this planet at this time with the same vibration as Jesus.
Well, it's just like mind blowing because all of this stuff is coming to light for me within the last couple of weeks.
Wow, that's soon. See, I have a Navigating Your Awakening group, and we meet up, and yeah, because a lot of people are waking up right now, and they're wake up at their own time. But sometimes you just want to shake people, like, do you not see what's really going on? It's like they're in their own reality, and there is no pulling them out of it. But that's okay. That's just where they're at. But yeah, that's amazing. It's like once you open that door, the universe will show you more and more. Like just gather knowledge.
So do you have any specific clients that the one that was carried into the spacecraft, was he able to come back and kind of describe what it was like?
Oh yeah, but it was a she actually, but people think you're crazy, so she kept it to herself, for many years.
Right.
Yeah, her and her husband had where they had gone. I guarantee I have, I just don't remember. Many of us have, and we actually, some of them put a little microchip in you to check on your progress, and it cannot be detected by our technology, which is pretty crazy, but it's like smaller than a grain of rice, and they just check in on you with this technology. There's so much technology out there, we have no clue.
I have
way
heard
above
this before, and I always assume, well, maybe they're just tracking you to, I don't know, eat you and fillet you or something.
No.
I think they're trying to put that kind of connotation on stuff, but really, maybe we don't live here.
There are negative ones too to keep us from our ascension, as well. And there are YouTube guides that walk you through on how to clear those out, and your angels and guides will come and clear those out. I think it's BS that it got put in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It's like, where's the free will in that? If they're beaming you up, putting these tags in you to prevent you from ascending, I don't get that. Yeah. Also, I want to mention governors. A governor is, I didn't even learn this until I did, after like 200 quantum sessions. And he stops me and says, wait a minute, I got to take this governor off. And he reaches back and he pulls this thing off his head. He said, I placed this on my body before I was born because it's like giving a child a motorcycle. You wouldn't do that. So I'm ready for my full gifts to come online. And so, yeah, he takes off the governor. I found out later he had a huge headache after the session. I should have filled that with light. Whenever you remove something, you got to fill it with light. But yeah, he channels. He channels the Orion Council. That's another type of being. I'm not sure what you call them, but it's the Orion Council. And yeah, it's amazing that we have these gifts, and some of them aren't even fully online yet until we're ready. Like you got to be emotionally ready, spiritually ready for these gifts to come online.
I guess that's the whole point of the I am, right? Trying to figure out who we are.
Yeah.
That's such a good thing.
For sure. And words are very powerful. When you say, I am this, I am that, your body is listening. You are the captain of your ship. And yeah, it's for sure listening and going to start reacting to the way you treat it.
What's interesting about that, the I am, this is something I never known before. I'm rereading parts of the Old Testament, the Bible, and I'm at the part where Moses goes into the desert and he's talking to God, and God's telling him that he needs to go back to his people and tell them they need to leave Egypt. This is where Exodus, they're about to leave. And he goes, well, they're not going to listen to me. I'm a nobody. He goes, what do I tell them? God talked to me, and how are these people going to believe me?
Right.
And God said, well, just tell them I am. It's a really interesting
Yeah, we need to live like that now, and remember who we are. We are so much more powerful than we can imagine, and I think humans are closer to the Christ consciousness because we have all these chakra systems and we can really tune in, and we have that ability. And the light and the dark and everything that's available here for us. We just learn so much.
So a big part of what you do, I'm assuming, is to help people move through the grieving process. I had a close friend pass away from cancer a few years back, and he visited me multiple times in dreams to tell me he was okay. In one of those dreams, he showed me a holding place. It looked like a dormitory or something in a university. And so I asked him, well, why are you here? He was kind of taking me through the gardens that were around this place and showed me where he was staying. It was like just a normal room. I said, well, why are you here? And he said he was taking classes and that he was going to move on to be a guardian. Have you ever come across anything like that before?
Yeah, for sure. They can choose to just keep learning on the other side of the veil or choose to come back here. I actually, my brother who had committed suicide 2 years ago came through my client during a quantum session to speak to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was pretty amazing. And from what I found out, they go into a cocoon when they're in something traumatic like that, or like a car accident or something like that. They're like cocooned in an energy until they're ready to feel like more whole before they speak with their guides and angels. And then from there, it's your choice to come back here and relearn the lesson that you need to learn, or to stay on the other side and go to school. And we all have soul pods. Like, you wouldn't hang around with the kindergartner souls. You would hang out with the 12th grader souls on the other side, even if it's not part of your family, like that was here on this planet. You might visit with them and say, hey, I'm doing great or whatever, but then you're like, you're on a different frequency. I got to go over here into my pod. And so that's happened where they've actually gone. They show me, they were between lives, they died, and they were showing me how they were going back to their pod. It was one of the first ones I ever did. I was like, what? What's going on?
Have you ever had clients that kind of can describe that place? Is it different for everybody?
Yeah, it is. They all don't go to that, that holding space. And every past life regression, they don't show me the other side, but some have, and they're like, it's a light like you've never seen or felt, and they go straight to source, and they're just feeling that all-knowing, all-loving warmth. And then, I give them that time because I know they're going to bring that energy back for the day. And then it's like, we got to come back to Earth now and finish this.
I feel like sometimes they only give us glimpses of that other world. We never know the story. Is there rules and regulations of how much they're allowed to show us?
I don't think there's rules or regulations, but that it's too much for you to handle. Like, you would want to jet and kill yourself the next day. Like, I want to go back to that amazing place. So I think there's reason why there's just small glimpses of it. I actually just finished an amazing book called here we go. I'm going to put it up here. Every Breath is Precious. And she crosses over and experiences heaven and brings that, information back here. And all her gifts came online after that as well. Pretty amazing book by Leslie Joan Lupo. Every Breath is Precious. Dying taught me how to live. And sometimes people do go through a near-death experience in order to jolt them back to their purpose here.
That seems to be a really popular theme too, where people have, I just talked to someone recently they were diagnosed with terminal cancer and ended up surviving it. And he says it just changed his entire perception on life and what he's doing. He did like a 1080. Yeah, I think I had to go through the darkness to find the light. Like, I was at my rock bottom, and I was like, I got to do something about this. I got to start healing myself. So I'm looking at all kinds of healing modalities online. I go to a life coaching school online, and from there I learned all these modalities. And like, oh, that seems interesting to me. I think I might do that in the future. So I became Reiki certified, quantum touch certified, healing touch certified. I got like 10, and I'm not done. I've started a new one called Lift, where I muscle test to see what things are on your body that we can remove. So I'm always just learning more. I'm never stopping. Or if I'm not reading or watching YouTube videos of other quantum hypnotists, like, I've learned so much. Alba Wyman, who's got me into quantum hypnosis, I watch her on YouTube,
and she's amazing. And apparently she's my aunt or mom because she was in the lifetime of Jesus as well. So it's no wonder I was drawn to her. But yeah, I've been in situations like where this is not in my schooling. What do I do next? What did Alba do? So I have to think back. What did she do? Yeah, she's amazing. Amazing. Check her out on YouTube.
Definitely will. So you got souls that's been cycled through here over and over again, but do you also have new souls that show up?
Yeah, there are baby souls. And they actually come in white, which is like a purity or whatever. And you can tell because they have the hardest time here and just want to stay home and be a hermit all the time and never come out. I know some people like that. But they're pure and they're here, they're here to teach us like, old souls as well. And to like be your child self. We forget that to just look at life with wonder.
I'm kind of new to the different techniques and healings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked a lot with sound vibrationals and things, but what is the difference between Reiki and quantum healing?
Well, it's quantum touch, which is another, they're all the same thing. If you ask me, we all have this innate ability to be a healer, and it comes through our palms right here, the energy. And you can even test it out by putting your hands together and breathing for a minute and pull your hands apart, and you will feel that energy ball there. That is the energy you're creating. And so just from the different classes I went to, I've learned different breathing techniques to make it stronger, or like imagining bringing color through. And toning as I'm doing it, like as I'm doing it, you're putting that frequency out. We can be literally singing bowls. Our voices are powerful, and we can do self-healing frequencies. And that's the future. That's what's coming. More and more people are tapping into this, that we can heal ourselves too through colors, frequencies, and vibrations. That's really all you need. Those three things.
Oh wow, there is a program out there called the Monroe Institute. Program. And that's what they're using to do remote viewing and self-healing. And there's just a whole array of things that you can do with it. It's really an amazing program.
We've had all of this technology and stuff before in the times of Atlantis. I've had many lifetimes in Atlantis, and this is the stuff we did in healing caves. And then we went the wrong direction. That's another story. But this is not new technology that we're coming up with. It's old that we're just bringing through. We're remembering it. Yeah, pretty much.
What do you know about Atlantis?
Oh, a lot. What do you want to know? I was actually a mermaid in Atlantis, and I was a priestess another lifetime. So mermaids are real. All this thing you think is folklore, it's not. It was a real thing. It's because it's in our DNA. We remember it. And my client came in, and she was the queen mermaid, and I was her guard apparently. And my name was Sahira. I was like, that's a pretty name.
That is a pretty name.
Yeah. And then my friend that channels, he's seen the lifetime. Actually, he's on my YouTube with Matt, the QHHT with Matt. He channeled that lifetime in Atlantis where I was his student and graduating. And then he was showing me like this healing prism thing that we were inside. And I was like, we need to bring that information back. It sounded amazing. And sacred geometry, I have to mention that, there's so much healing in sacred geometry. And what is it called? Not hieroglyphs, where the UFOs leave little imprints on the earth. That is like looking at that is remembering things. It's a download basically.
So with the healing caves, I've heard of that before too. Supposedly there are caves full of crystals and things that harness all of the things that we need to know. It's like
yes,
a crystal.
The crystal is holding information, literally. And there are crystals that you can hold on to, like Lemurian crystals, and tap into that knowledge. Yes, you are right about that.
Oh, wow. I guess that's why different crystals work for different things.
And some repel. You're not ready for them. They're too, high vibration for you or something. Your intuition will tell you. Go in a crystal shop, and if you're drawn to one, there's a reason. Look up the meaning for it, and I'll be like, wow, that's just what I need at the time. I actually had a crystal child, they call them crystal indigo children, come up to me in a museum, complete stranger, and hand me a crystal and say, I need this right now. And then she didn't know what crystal it was, though. So I asked my friend that knows about crystals, and it was about communication. I was having communication issues with my son at the time. I'm like, oh, just what I needed. It's amazing.
The indigo children, can you explain what that is just a little bit? That's a really interesting topic too. I'm trying to find someone to be a guest about indigo children.
Yeah, these children already have their gifts fully intact, and hopefully their family is encouraging that versus saying you're crazy, you're seeing things. But yeah, there are volunteers from other star systems, and they already know their mission. They already have that passion, and they already have their gifts online, and the other family might not know what to do with that. So yeah, I'm wanting to start a crystal children class called a wizardly class or something like that, so they can tune into their gifts. And schools don't allow for that. They push all these subjects on these kids that they don't even care about, and they're bored to death. Find what it is that they're, really tapped into, what brings them the joy. And that's what they're supposed to do to help this planet raise its vibration.
And they came in waves, right? The first wave came in the 60s, the second late 70s, and then...
Yeah, and each wave is easier and easier because the vibration has raised on the planet. So it's much easier.
It's such an interesting thing. It seems like they get stronger every time the next wave comes through.
And they're going to have more knowledge than we have. And we got to understand that this little child, even though they're in a smaller body, we got to listen to them. They know what they're talking about.
So soul contracts, that's a terminology that's used that I hear a lot from the paranormal field. Can you explain what that is exactly?
Like, I would sign up to be the perpetrator, and in order for you to stand in your power type thing. I'm going to come in to be your mother, and I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then you've got to learn to break free from it for me. That is love. Even if you have to cut somebody out of your life and wish them well and cut cords, that's for your own good. It's all for learning. This is just a school. So once you can actually clear contracts and karma that you've created. Like there are YouTubes out there where you can say certain things, set an intention, imagine cutting the cord from that person and saying, I've learned the lesson, it's time to move on.
Does that account for parents who lose young babies?
Oh yes. They'll have a contract to leave at an early age for their soul growth.
It's kind of sad, but I guess at the same time, it teaches everyone that's involved is able to step higher from that experience, right? Yeah,
you can either choose to go at a higher experience or low and be depressed for the rest of your life over it, you know what I'm saying? Or you help someone else, you help other people that have lost young ones. You can choose one path or the other. It's up to you.
It's interesting. Another aspect to what you do is connecting with higher self and consciousness. Why is this so important, and how does it align in our spirit toward healing?
It's like when you tap into the higher consciousness, you're tapping into everyone's higher consciousness, really. You're seeing the whole picture of what's going on right now. So it's very important so that you're not in your egoic self all the time, and you're understanding the whole picture.
One of the things for me is figuring out life purpose. I have such a hard time trying to figure out what my life purpose is, and I just go round and round with it. I feel like I don't even have one. Is this the case? Does everyone have a life purpose?
Yes, we all have a life purpose, and highly recommend this book, Letters to a Starseed by Rebecca Campbell. It talks about that a lot, how a lot of, our soul, we have a soul mission here, and some of us have a double mission where it's to help the collective. Like you might have one mission to clear your DNA, family lineage, because there's been whatever in it, that needs to be cleared out. So you came in to clear that away. You're stopping that. That might be one of your missions. Another mission might be, to help young children that's coming into their powers. Like it's all over the map, but whatever brings you the most joy. And it might not be time for you to step into your full mission too, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So it all depends on where you are in your journey. So just go with the flow, and what really makes your heart swell. That's what you need to be doing.
That's so interesting. So one of the things I've experienced, I have a whole lifetime of paranormal experiences. It started when I was 2 or 3 years old. Mm-hmm. When I started college, though, I started having these really weird dreams about this little town And it turned out to be a town outside of Salem, Massachusetts. So I visited this place, and it was like deja vu. I knew where everything was, and I was led to this little cemetery plot. And just to back it up just a little bit, I was doing a documentary on Nathaniel Hawthorne at the time. I was doing some filming, and so I was in and out of Salem a lot. But I just stumbled across this little town, and I kid you not, I knew where the cemetery was. I knew where everything was in this town. Do you think that was like a past life situation?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that can happen. Many people have had those deja vus where they'll go on a vacation and be like, oh, I know how to go on this road and this will lead to that house. And you're like, how do I know that? Yeah, that's you tapping into that past life. And many of my clients have been witches in past lives and been burned or hung for speaking their truth. And I have to mention that now is the time to stop with that fear, because you're not going to get burned at the stake anymore, that you're meant to speak your truth right now. And just open that chakra up. Like literally they'll feel during the session, just like someone's like squeezing something around their throat, or there's a rope around there. And as soon as we remove that energetically, they're like, oh, I can breathe. I can speak now. And it's amazing.
Wow. I feel like sometimes too, we'll actually suffer illnesses from things like that. Like for a long time, I didn't have a voice. I was very shy. Afraid to speak to anybody. I had throat cancer a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. For sure.
So is there a connection there?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've had a client come in, she had breast cancer, and come to find out she was harboring anger because her children were all on drugs. And she was so angry about that. And that's where a lot of women, harbor their anger. And so they cause their own, breast cancer. So yeah, my mom got it too. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, you were definitely angry at my stepdad. He was an alcoholic and he was kind of abusive to her. So you got to release that. We are meant to release our emotions and let them go. Feel them fully. There's use to them. And then let them go. But so many are holding on and harboring it, and it's causing their own cancer. Yes.
And it's interesting too. I feel like we do get angry over the stuff that happens to us, but if we've already signed up for it, maybe it's just part of that contract. Or another thing I hear a lot of people say is they blame God for everything.
Which is funny because you've done it yourself. Like we play the victim so much, like we cause a lot of our own problems, and then we're like, cursing God, and it's you. Yeah. And then as soon as you cross over, you see it. You're like, oh, that's why I was here and why I did that and that and that to learn this. Now it makes sense.
Well, Aurora Sky, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed having you on. I could talk for hours with you.
I know, me too. I love this. Is a subject I could talk about all day.
Where can my listeners find you? Do you do your sessions in person? Can they be conducted over phone? How does that
Both. Not the phone, but like Zoom or this Zencaster. Yeah, I can definitely do it that way. You won't get the crystal light or the Reiki, but yeah, we can still do the hypnosis like that. I've done several like that and record it and send it to you. Yes. And healingwithaurora.com. And I also have the YouTube under the same name, Healing with Aurora.
Do you have anything else you want to share with our listeners?
The time is now to collaborate for a better future for humanity and the earth. So collaboration is the new black.
Thank you so much.